Danny Flexent here for Seconds Out with my old friend Frank Warren. Frank, you must be really happy. You're up here, final press conference for the big show at the Royal Albert Hall, Friday night. You mentioned up there that headline act Daniel Dubois has just become the first heavyweight in 26 years, is it, to win the Boxing Writers? Oh, it might be even longer. 36 years to win the Boxing Writers Young Boxer of the Year award. Archie Sharp, who's also on the top table, shortlisted for that award too. It looks like the future's bright for Queensberry Promotions.
Well, we got some great young fighters, and obviously we're delighted that Daniel and Archie are with us. They're tremendous young talents, and they've done everything up to now that they've been asked of them. And that's what we're all about, bringing these guys through and developing the talent for, and putting big shows on in Britain and giving the fans value for money. And we're doing that on Friday night at the Albert Hall. We're coming off a great show, which we had earlier in the year there, which featured Daniel in a cracking fight there, and he's got this undefeated guy in Ebenezer Teti, who's 19-0 with 16 knockouts. If it's half as good as the Larty fight, I'll be absolutely delighted. And I'm really looking forward to it on Friday. I'm really looking forward to being there again.
There was a lot of talk up on the press conference about where Daniel sits in the pecking order of heavyweights right now, still at the age of 22, British champion, going for the Commonwealth, winning so many belts along the way. Where would you put him on the world scene? Top 15, top 10, top 5? What do you think right now?
I think he's up there in the top 5 or 6. I really do. At the moment, all those guys are tied up. Obviously, AJ fighting Ruiz in December. I don't know if they've got another rematch clause in there or not, but that's going on. You've got Ortiz challenging Deontay in sometime in November when they announce the date. He comes for his fight. Tyson's cut heels properly, then he'll fight. Hopefully it's going to be Deontay, the revenge match with him. And then there may be a rematch with them after that one, we'll see. But all these guys are all tied up. So in the meantime, all these guys, these other fighters, including Daniel and Joe Joyce, are all working to get themselves into a position where they're going to be a mandatory or in that top 2 or 3 in the world, that whoever comes out on top is going to have to fight them sometime towards the end of next year. I expect Daniel to be there. And Daniel was, he's done everything that's been asked of him up to us now at a very young age, and we've only having 7 senior amateur bouts behind him, which is a bit of a feat where he's at. But he's exciting. He can box. He can punch. Certainly can punch. And when I was in the States last week with Tyson for his fight out there, there was a big buzz about him. People were asking about him, and I tried to make a couple of matches, and people just weren't interested. Which says a lot about him, because everybody's jostling for a position to get a title fight. So it's my job to deliver big fights for him. He's obviously got to come through this fight for the Commonwealth. This is a fight that was made by the Commonwealth, so it hopefully will come through, and we can then look to moving him further up the rankings.
Is Joe Joyce in that top 6 as well?
Well, look, he's done everything that's asked of him, Joe, hasn't he? He's the mandatory challenger at the Char. Would we make Joe would fight Char in a heartbeat? It's the same with Daniel. I'd make any of those fights, or make him and Joe. But that's a fight that hopefully next year we can get on. It's going to be a huge fight with these 2 young guys. We did it with him and Nathan. It was ordered, the fight, and and it took place. So it's not the end of the world, as I say, for the loser. But we want to find out who is the best out there. I think at the moment it's Daniel. I really do believe that. I said that when I signed him. That I felt he was the future of the heavyweight division. The best heavyweight in the world for me is Tyson Fury, and the best young heavyweight in the world is Daniel. So we're in a pretty good position.
You kind of swerve putting Joe Joyce somewhere in that one because he's not young. You kind of get away with it.
Well, I've not swerved it from that point of view. What I'm saying by that is that, I suppose I am in some ways that he is the young heavyweight. Joe's an older guy, but Joe's there, isn't he? He's there about. I've got to be asked the question: who's the best fighter out of Joe Joyce and Daniel? At the moment, I would say Daniel, and I'm sure Sam Jones would say something totally different. But that's how it is, and there's only one way that's ever going to be found out, is when they meet. One of us is going to be wrong, that's for sure. But time will tell on that. I really, I rate Joe. Joe's done everything that's asked of him. He's got a great chin. He's a tough sod. And he's got a fantastic pedigree. He won a silver medal in the Olympics. I think he should have been a gold. So you can't overlook him. and for the experience that he's got. But, you know, at the moment he's in a position where he's looking to fight the winner of Char and is it Bryant, Trevor Bryant. He's looking to fight the winner of that, and it's been ordered by the WBA that be the position. So that's quite an important position for him to be in. So he's focused on that. In the meantime, we want to keep him busy. He's been nominated to fight for the European. The European champion vacated his title rather than fight him. So that says a lot about Joe.
Daniel Dubois, I've done 2 interviews with him, I think, in the last 2 weeks. He really seems to be improving in front of the camera, which it must be heartening for you as well as it is for us. You know, he's coming out of his shell a bit more, he's showing a bit more charisma. That's got to be a good thing in terms of building his profile.
Well, he has got charisma, and he's quite articulate when he sits there. You know, when he's off camera, I speak to him quite a bit, obviously, and he's a joy and a pleasure to talk with, converse with. But he does his talking in the ring. He does it in the ring. I mean, you know, I've said it a million times. When George Foreman turned pro, you couldn't get a word out of him. He didn't want to talk to anyone. His second coming, he was like Muhammad Ali Mark II. You know, you couldn't shut him up. He does his speaking in the ring. He does his talking in the ring. He's a dynamic athlete. He's a dynamic boxer, and as long as he keeps doing that, that's all I care about. The rest of it will develop as time goes on. He's getting more confidence in front of cameras, but let's focus on what he does in the ring, because in the ring he's got tremendous confidence.